In due time, the polls will open, and democracy will call on us to make a choice.
A choice between prosperity and false promises.
We all desperately crave change and progress, but progress favors the prepared.
What does it mean to be prepared?
It means to get registered.
Voting is your right, but you can only take part in the process if you are registered.
Registration is the first individual move you have to take if you want to contribute to the collective effort of national transformation.
Registration is how you can ensure your voice is heard.
Registration is a step in the right direction to bring benefits to all people.
To experience meaningful change.
Registration and voting is the only way to actualize our vision.
Our vision of more jobs and opportunities.
Our vision of better health and a robust agricultural sector.
Our vision of prosperity and nation building.
The ink we must use to rewrite our destiny.
To start a new chapter in our nation's history.
Is in the voters' booth.
And only the registered.
And only the registered.
And only the registered have access.
Change begins with registration.
Get registered today.
To get registered, visit your parliamentary electoral office in your constituency. For assistance with registration, call 435-1817 or visit our website at www.bringthevote.com.
Mr. Deacon Mitchell. Former Prime Minister and past leader, Mr. Tillman Thomas. Members of the NDC, members of the executive, guardians of the media, friends and supporters viewing online. A pleasant good morning and welcome. Sisters and brothers, the last time I had the honor of addressing you in such official capacity was in November of last year, when the NDC installed a new executive team to lead the party. Once elected, this team spared no effort in rallying the troops. Since then, we have seen and witnessed a reignition in the political fervor of our people, a renewed interest in the governance of our country, an awakening. But as the saying goes, the noise in the market is not always the sale of the fish. Many Grenadians echoed this sentiment, and so we knew we had our work cut out. I know at times it may have seemed that we were on a media blackout, but I can assure you we were diligently working. The new NDC operates under a new dispensation. We deploy our resources and energies wisely. We don't believe in any rushed process, because democracy and governance is serious business, and due diligence and time must be invested to secure the right results. Please appreciate that the new executive team believes in measuring twice and cutting once. With that said, I come here today as a bearer of good news. We have done our work, and we believe we have recruited a suitable team of candidates who are competent enough to carry us to victory in the polls whenever that proverbial bell is rung. Our team is a mixture of youth and experience, male and female, professionals and servicemen and women, but all have one thing in common. They are all leaders. All who are committed to the sustainable and equitable development of Grenada for all Grenadians. Our political leader, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, will have the pleasure of formally introducing them to you, and I am confident you will be pleased. Therefore, I will not prolong any further, but please allow me to utter these final words. From this moment onwards, we can say we have turned a new chapter in our nation's history. We, the citizens, have the ink we must use to write our history, our new story. This moment in history belongs to us, and we, the people, must seize it. We must get involved, we must get registered, and we must get out and vote. Vote to bring the change we need. Vote to move Grenada forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I trust you will enjoy the rest of the proceedings. I will now call on our political leader and Prime Minister in waiting to deliver his remarks.
Former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, Deputy Chairman of the National Executive Council and former Member of Parliament for St. Andrews Southwest, Mr. Sylvester Quallis, fellow colleagues at the head table, and soon-to-be members of Parliament for your respective constituencies, our PRO, Mr. Orlando Romain, members of the media present and those who are streaming our broadcast live, members and supporters of the National Democratic Congress who are here present, supporters and members of the National Democratic Congress who are viewing this live broadcast, citizens, well-wishers, and residents of Grenada, good morning. It is a distinct honor and pleasure that I make these brief remarks to you this morning. Since being elected political leader of the National Democratic Congress, we have embarked on a drive of reigniting, inspiring, and motivating Grenadians to get involved in civic and political life. We have pursued a drive of widening the membership of the National Democratic Congress. We have pursued encouraging members to step up, to get involved in nation building. This morning, I have the pleasure of announcing to the nation some of the citizens who have taken on this call to serve in the most noble of ways, to make the sacrifice that is required for public service by offering themselves to run as candidates in the upcoming general elections whenever the date is set for those elections. They do so with great humility, but also with a measure of pride. Humility because they understand the sacrifice, the commitment to people, the commitment to public service, the commitment to good governance, the commitment to hard work, and the commitment to be answerable to the people of Grenada. With pride, because they represent the best of Grenada. They represent men and women born, bred, educated, living in Grenada, who come from the bowels of our respective villages and constituencies. And so this morning, it is with absolute pleasure that we host this press conference to introduce what I call the Western flank and one member of the Eastern flank to the nation, who will offer themselves as candidates in the upcoming election. These persons, I assure you, will commit to putting the residents of their respective constituencies first. Let me repeat that. I assure you that these persons will commit to putting the residents of their constituencies first. And therefore, their first task is to represent the citizens of their constituencies from this day forward. And we will represent whether or not there is an election. We will represent whether or not they sit in or out of Parliament, because it is about representing the ordinary citizens, listening to their advice, listening to their concerns, and ensuring that as a community we collectively address them. That is the only way in which we will move Grenada forward. That is the only way in which we will solve the challenge of high youth unemployment, of high youth despair, of frustration. They will bring the hope, the light, and the love for people. And that is the starting point. And once we commit and demonstrate that, I assure you that they will pursue economic and social programs that are beneficial first to our villages, first to our communities, first to our parishes, and to the nation of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada. So, I know it's been long in coming. I know the anticipation has been there. I know you've asked repeatedly, Deacon and whom. I am proud to be able to say to you the and whom, or part of the and whom, are present. Our PRO will introduce each of them to you. They in turn will deliver a brief acceptance speech, and thereafter we will journey to each of the respective constituencies that they will be representing. We are in St. Patrick West. We will spend some time here. We will then journey to St. Mark, to St. John, to St. George's Northwest, to the tongue of St. George, and we will culminate in St. David. And since I've listed the constituencies, those are the candidates that we will be presenting this morning. We intend to present the remainder of our candidates in the coming weeks, and I assure you, Grenada, that you will be proud, you will be satisfied, you will be reinvigorated to get involved in our collective civic, public, and national life, so that we can all collectively bring the change that Grenada so desperately needs, so that we can collectively move Grenada forward. So I thank you very much for coming this morning.
All right. So once again, I'm back with you for the most anticipated announcement, I think, in a long time in Grenada. So I will be short. I think I will give the candidates an opportunity to actually speak about themselves. So I will start with my immediate left. We have, for the tongue of St. George, Sister Claudette Joseph, who is no stranger to the political light, a long-standing member and one of the hardest working members I've seen in the party to date. Sister Claudette.
Thank you, Mr. Piero, chairman of this morning's proceedings. Might I acknowledge my dear friend, Deacon, our party leader, and yes, within the NDC, he's just Deacon. That's how cool he is. My colleagues, Sister Karine, Brother Joe, Jonathan, Quince, good morning. I recognize two among us, our former Prime Minister, Uncle Tilly, our immediate past General Secretary, Brother Glenn Noel, former MP for St. Andrews Southwest and the former Minister of Government, current chair, Deputy Chair of the party, Brother Sylvester Quallis. I see two managing things behind the scenes, former chairman, Brother Vincent Roberts, together with our former PRO and current assistant PRO, Brother Randall Robinson. Our current General Secretary is also among us. And I took the time to mention all of the foregoing people so that you, the viewers, wherever you are viewing this event, first, let me greet you. Good morning, and it's glad to have you spending the morning with the National Democratic Congress. But I mention all of the foregoing to demonstrate to the people of Grenada how we are able to blend what is commonly styled the old guard with the new, the young and the old, the experienced and the not so experienced, so that together we can bring the best of Grenada as we move Grenada forward. I here accept the endorsement given me by first the constituency of the town of St. George, the members of the National Democratic Congress in the constituency of the town of St. George, and several of them have journeyed up this morning and will be coming back down. It wasn't planned, but they said, CJ, we have to come all the way up to Sautels to support you. Even if the room would be too small, we'll be outside waiting, and we'll be walking throughout the western flank with you today. So thank you to the members of the constituency branch who have journeyed up here. I delighted that you have reposed such confidence in me. I'm even more delighted that our executive committee endorsed myself as well, having been endorsed by the branch, and that the party leader is in full support of both endorsements. As you know, I contested the seat last elections, and all I will say to you is that each election is different. Every election is different, and this one, for the constituency of the town of St. George, will be different, I assure you. It will be a different campaign, and it will be a different outcome, because it is incumbent on all of us to ensure that our people enjoy a higher quality of life. And you, the people of the town of St. George, I ask for your support this time around. I ask for your vote, each and every one of you. I intend to focus as your MP with love, attention, and care on the things that matter to you. Better and more jobs, permanent jobs, better housing, wealth creation and empowerment. And one way I pledge to work to do that for you, the people of the town of St. George, is to ensure that each of you have your little piece of paper in your hand, so that you become an owner of a piece of this rock we all call home. I will work with the young people of the town of St. George in sports, in culture, in supplemental education, in creating community spaces, and in making good, productive citizens of all of you. And I will also work to restore our town which is now 313 or so years old and still does not have a public library. I will work to ensure that our public library and all our heritage buildings are restored to their former glory. And in so doing, I will marry the restoration of our lovely city with ensuring that our young people have a space where they can engage in further education and cultural activities. So thank you very much, brothers and sisters, and I look forward to knocking on all of your doors in the town of St. George and obtaining your support come next election day. Together, we must work to move Grenada forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sister Claudia. I think we can give another round of applause. So we'll now move to our next candidate, who would come as no surprise to you, I'm sure, but it gives me great pleasure to officially announce him as a candidate for St. David's. This is none other than our political leader and the Prime Minister in waiting, Mr. Deacon Mitchell.
Thank you, Orlando. This is primarily for the great people of St. David. I was in Lackalum last night, and a young lady said to me, "You are the MP already." And I said to her, "Why do you say so?" And she said to me, "Well, in 10 years, I think the MP came once. And he had a meeting maybe last week. And we assume the meeting took place because elections are around the corner." And I said to her, despite the fact that St. David's has many villages, the first and foremost job of the MP is to ensure that he is accessible to the people of St. David. The first and foremost job of the MP is to ensure that he is available to listen, to dialogue, to converse with, to advocate on behalf of the citizens of St. David. I intend to do just that. I intend to represent your interests at all times, to the best of my ability. I intend to ensure that our children have access to basic sporting facilities, to playgrounds. They do not currently exist. Our fishermen in the entire parish have not access to a single jetty upon which to bring their catch. They have access not to a single facility to help them with storage, chilling, or cleaning of fish. Our farmers, our market vendors have access not to a single public space except one provided by the National Democratic Congress at Corinth in St. David, where they can ply their produce. For far too long, the parish of St. David has been seen only as a parish that produces labor to supply other parts of Grenada. I intend to ensure that the parish of St. David is transformed into a commercial hub where full employment is provided to all of the citizens of St. David. Our secondary school has been falling apart for many years. And despite the talk of addressing it, no urgency has been demonstrated in doing so. I pledge to you, citizens of St. David, that I will make the building of the new secondary school so that our young men and women have access to a facility that allows them to pursue their education in a comfortable and motivating environment is made an immediate priority. A stone's throw away from my grandmother's house was a facility known as the St. David Skills Training Center. It lies in ruins, occupied only by trees and bush. Yet, we do not train our young women and men in the skills that are absolutely required in this era to help ensure that when they leave school, they are immediately deployed into the working environment and can take care of themselves. I intend, not just in St. David, but as political leader of the National Democratic Congress, to ensure that skills training centers are established throughout the length and breadth of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada, so that our young women and men, as well as our older citizens who wish to pursue skills training so that they could become self-employed persons, entrepreneurs, or employees, can do so. We must put our people first. We must ensure that our development is focused on our people. The mountain range and the hillside of St. David still, to a large extent, lays bare from the ravages of Hurricane Ivan. We have not replanted our spices. We have not replanted our spices. I intend to ensure that our cloves, cinnamon, nutmegs are replanted in a systematic and national way with full support of the government that we will form. Citizens of Grenada, our foreparents did it. As a community, we can build our community from the ground up. Housing is a major issue throughout the length and breadth of Grenada. Save for the housing provided by our dear friends from China, our government has not pursued the systematic building and creating of communities for our citizens. The National Democratic Congress will ensure that the Housing Authority is not just a contractor, but that the Housing Authority does what it was meant to do, which is to provide affordable housing for all of our citizens of Grenada, and to ensure that we give our public servants, our farmers, our hotel workers the opportunity to own their home, so that the pride and joy that comes from that is restored to them. We cannot afford to make our citizens unable to purchase land and to acquire a home in Grenada. It is therefore absolutely essential, and in particular in St. David, to ensure that we put in place zoning laws that will ensure that the price of land does not rise to a point where our citizens cannot afford to purchase a home or to purchase a lot of land. We will support our entrepreneurs. There is no point in building hotels in our constituency if the citizens of that constituency are not the ones who are going to be part of the supply chain. We cannot merely be relegated to maids and barmen and barwomen. We must ensure that we are part of the supply chain that supplies the food, that supplies the water sport business, that supplies the car rental, to ensure that there is an integration between our tourism product and the persons who live in our communities. So those of us who make our local wines, our local spirits, our chocolate, our floral arrangements should be the first ones to be given the opportunity to have their produce sold at these hotels. And do not tell me it cannot be done. All that is required is for a government that is prepared to set the policy and to lead in that direction. When investors come to a country, they expect that the country will indicate to them what its policies are. And as leader of the National Democratic Congress, and as your intended MP for St. David, I intend to do just that. So citizens of St. David, I got involved in public life because you raised me, you educated me, and you have been good to me. I have an obligation to give back to you, and I intend to do just so that the next generation of citizens from St. David have a living example that they too can aspire to public life. They too can aspire to be the member of Parliament for St. David, and that they too can aspire to be the Prime Minister of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada. Thank you.
Thank you, future Prime Minister. Our next candidate hails from the tongue of Guav, the tongue that never sleeps. She is currently the chairperson of our youth arm. She's a graduate of the St. George's University, was a former senator, and I think at one point touted as the youngest senator in the Commonwealth. And she's somebody I consider to be a powerful leader, young, dynamic, and innovative. I would like to introduce you to Karine James, the candidate for St. John.
Thank you so much for the kind words. A pleasant morning to one and all. I am quite certain that there was no coincidence that our long-awaited Candidates Launch is hosted in Crown City. From a cultural and fishing perspective, it will be remiss of me not to mention the deep connection St. Patrick and St. John have had for a very long time. And so because of that, I am elated to be here today. November 17, 2015, 6 years ago, is a date I hold dearest to me. It is a date that has changed my life forever, one that has set the precedents for my future, one that was not imagined or planned by me, but destined by the powers of God. To my political brothers, Ian, Tevin, and Ron, I am forever grateful to have met you three strong young men filled with fervor and thirst for change for our beloved youth and country. And it is with this same youthful exuberance, a burning desire to see real development happen in our country, my love for politics and nation building, the call from the people, and a sign from God that now is the time for us youth to come forward in a meaningful way. I have offered myself to be a servant for the people of St. John. I am Karine James, the candidate for the NDC St. John constituency, and of course, I'm a proud product of Guav. I have stepped forward with my talents, ideas, and youthful energy to make my contribution to my people and the nation I love dearly. And so, I am urging my fellow constituents to rise up and play your role in the transformation of this great nation. I thank you.
I'm sure you guys can agree why I say she's a powerful leader. Our next candidate, I'm sure is no stranger to the most persons in the room here today. He's a son of this constituency. He is a former party leader, a former candidate in previous elections. He's a linguistic by training and brings a wealth of experience and strong youth following. A combination we believe will serve our party well going into the next general election. Our next candidate is Mr. Joseph Andal for the constituency of St. Patrick's West.
Thank you, Brother Piero, and good morning. I'd like to acknowledge our party leader, Brother Dick Mitchell, although as the old bull of the woods, I may have to start calling him my son. our former party leader and former Prime Minister, Uncle Tilly, our current Deputy Chair, former MP for St. Andrews Southwest, Brother Qualis, Brother Larry Barry, PRO, members, my fellow colleagues at the head table, former GS, Brother Glenwell, former party chair, Brother Vincent Roberts. I see also our current national, the deputy chairperson of our national youth movement, Brother Ron Williams, who is a member of my constituency group, members of the St. Patrick West Executive, all other members of the party, well-wishers, members of the media. I'm happy to be here this morning as the MP-elect for St. Patrick West. I'm no stranger to the people of St. Patrick West or St. Patrick as a whole, and I pledge to you that, as I've been doing for the past few years, I will always be with you. I am the one you see fighting for the protection of Montrodney Beach. I am the one you have seen over the years advocating for a complete and successful breakwater project for the protection of Luton. To the workers of our country, the public officers, teachers, police officers, retirees, I am the only politician in St. Patrick that you have seen over the years standing shoulder to shoulder with you in your struggles for justice and equality. I pledge to continue doing what I've been doing, but even more intensively. St. Patrick is known as the historical parish, but sisters and brothers, rather than the parish being developed for the benefit of all, we have seen our parish slip to earn the unenviable reputation of being the most poverty-stricken in Grenada. This is not something we are proud of, and with my leadership and your support, I pledge that we are going to take St. Patrick to the top, not just on the map, economically, socially, and otherwise. We have the talent, we have the resources, we have the potential. What we need now is the leadership to pull all of this together to transform our beautiful parish. I therefore submit my application to you, the people of St. Patrick West, for the job of Member of Parliament for St. Patrick West. In this quest, I am calling on everyone to rally with me, regardless of which party you may have voted for or supported in the past. What we need now is someone with the vision and the passion to move our beautiful parish forward. I therefore call on you for your assistance in realizing our dreams and our goals. Something that I pledge to bring to the table is effective representation. And the only way I can be a representative and an effective representative is by being in constant touch with you. I cannot say that I'm your representative if I do not talk with you, if I do not listen to you. And I pledge, sisters and brothers, that one of the hallmarks of my tenure as your MP in the future will be regular and meaningful consultation. We have some problems to tackle. The problems of youth unemployment and youth underemployment. The problems or the scourge of contract work for our young people, leaving them vulnerable to political manipulation. This is something that I and the rest of Team NDC give you our commitment that we are going to tackle immediately and robustly. The climate of fear that exists in our country, and in particular in our parish, that has to be exorcised. Some years ago it was said that we have demons here. Well, we have demons. We have the demon of unemployment. We have the demon of victimization. We have the demon of marginalization. And under my leadership, I give you the assurance that those demons will be banished once and for all from our beautiful country. We need to focus, sisters and brothers, on the development of ICT. we are living in a digital world and we have to move with the time. We must move away from a situation where you go to every little village shop and you cannot see anything with the label Made in Grenada. 40 years ago, we embarked on a journey and you could have seen Made in Grenada not only on the shelves in Grenada, but in New York and in Port of Spain. We pledge, sisters and brothers, to utilize our fruits, our agricultural produce for the benefit of our people by adding value to it, creating meaningful employment so that we can develop our country in a sustainable way. Sisters and brothers, our natural environment is one of the greatest gifts that we have. We have an obligation to preserve, to protect, to improve it. We have a sacred duty to ensure that what we have inherited will leave in a better state for the generations to come after us. And I give you my pledge today that I will be an environmental warrior fighting to preserve and to protect our natural beauty and our natural heritage. So in conclusion, I am happy to see so many of you here this morning. I appreciate your support and I look forward to your vote on Election Day whenever it is called, so that we can begin the journey of taking St. Patrick to the top. Thank you.
Brother Andel, thank you. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our party chairperson, Chairman, Mr. Tevin Andrew. Our next candidate is a former school teacher, vice principal, human resource manager in the private sector, and an OECS SDM ambassador. Mr. Jonathan Lecretis has a special task. He will challenge the incumbent in the constituency of St. George's Northwest, a constituency that was once considered out of bounds. Mr. Lecretis, who hails from Fontenoy, is one of our fresh youth faces, but he comes with a vast professional experience and personal accomplishment. And I must say, Mr. Lecretis gave the assurance that once launched, there will be a tectonic shift in Northwest constituency. I present you Mr. Jonathan Lecretis.
Good morning. Good morning. Boy, oh boy. Political leader, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, former Prime Minister, Brother Tillman Thomas, and all other members of the Executive National Democratic Congress, past and present, pleasant morning. Our viewing audience, both present and on social media, good morning. Standing before you this morning is a success story out of Fontenoy in the village of Blogo. I am Jonathan Lecretis, and I am also the NDC's candidate for the constituency of St. George's Northwest. I have been given a special task and responsibility. It has been thrust upon me, and I intend to ensure that to the best of my ability, I rally together with the constituents of St. George's Northwest to ensure that our community-based programs and projects that I have already begun to set in motion on paper, that they are realized, materialized, and that they come into fruition so that the constituency of St. George's Northwest can be transformed into a community. I accept the endorsement by political leader, the national executive, and also from the constituents of St. George's Northwest, whom I have been engaging with for the past couple months, I want to ensure that my representation to you is one that is without prejudice, that is without ill will, and that I serve the interests and well-being of all of the people of St. George's Northwest. I am a firm believer of the fact that life is about change, and life is about transition, and life is also about those who have gone before us, laying the foundation so that the next generation can build from level to level. I want to see you at the polls whenever the next general election is called, and I want us together. I want to walk hand in hand with you as constituents of St. George's Northwest, from Cherry Hill to Perseverance, so that we can transform our community with initiatives that are sustainable as we build for the future generation of that constituency. Thank you very much.
I see a few chairs have moved. Right? Is that the tectonic shift? Our next candidate hails from the constituency of St. Mark, a constituency I hold dear to my heart because my great-grandparents were from that constituency, and so I have a special interest. Mr. Quince Britton is a son of Victoria soil, who has been serving as a youth activist in the constituency for quite some time. As an active member of the youth arm, Quince is also a leader in the constituency branch. He is professionally trained in music and tutored in music theory. He currently manages an automotive business in the South. I would like to present you our candidate for the constituency of St. Mark, Mr. Quince Britton.
Political leader, Brother Deacon Mitchell, members of the head table, former Prime Minister and past political leader of the National Democratic Congress, Uncle Tilly, past and present members of the National Executive of the National Democratic Congress, constituents, well-wishers, supporters, viewing people, good morning. Good morning. It is with great pleasure and I feel very proud this morning to be standing here from the constituency of St. Mark. At the age of 12, I began an interest and start paying attention to what is happening in our constituency in St. Mark. If it's one thing that I could say that St. Mark, we are very loyal. And we have been loyal to one organization that has kept us in a state in which the French had named us Grand Pauvre. This was the reason why I stepped forward. Rather than staying on the side and just talk, I stepped forward to be the change that I want to see in my constituency. As your candidate for the constituency of St. Mark and an MP to be soon elected, I pledge my continued loyal and unwavering commitment to work with you, the people of St. Mark, to lead us out of this old age stagnation to develop our parish into economically and sustainable communities, to work with you to improve our health care system, and to toil and sweat with you to provide the avenues for the varying talents and skills requirements for our youth. As a youth myself, I feel very proud and honored, and I accept this offer to become your next MP. I accept, most of all, the unwavering commitment and support thus far, and I pledge with you to continue that as we go along this journey. The task would not be an easy task, but is not impossible. So from Tufton Hall in the east, Victoria in the west, Marion in the south, and Union in the north, let us work together to become a proud parish of rural Grenada, to move the status quo from grand poverty to great richness. I thank
you. All right. So we're on to our final candidate. He's no stranger to us. He has been on the political trail for quite some time. Currently our chairman. He hails from the constituency of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And he goes by the name of Tenacious Tevin. All right. This young man has been on the campaign trail and has been engaged in the community in elections and out of elections. He's very consistent. He truly believes in the cause and spares no bones in getting the work done. I would like to introduce you to our candidate for the constituency of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, Tevin Andrew.
Sisters and brothers, pleasant good morning to all. Party leader, next Prime Minister of Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, Deacon Mitchell. Sister Claudette Joseph, the next MP, the tongue of St. George. My dear sister and friend and comrade, Sister Karine James, next Member of Parliament for St. George, for St. John. Brother Lecretis, Comrade Lecretis. And of course, Brother Joseph Andel, Brother Quincy, all are next members of parliament in their constituencies. Party Public Relations Officer, Brother Orlando Romain, our dear party treasurer, Sister Andrea St. Bernard, former party leader and former Prime Minister of this country, Brother Tillman Thomas, all other ex-members of the party. I'm seeing Brother Glenn Noel, former General Secretary, and all the others. A pleasant good morning to all. Carriacou and Petit Martinique in the house this morning. I am Tevin Andrews, the NDC caretaker candidate for the constituency of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and the next member of parliament for Carriacou and Petit Martinique. For far too long, the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique has been treated like the unwanted stepchildren. And for far too long, we have been taken advantage of. For far too long, we have been neglected by our elected representatives. Whether it's healthcare, sustainable infrastructure development, the issue with inter-island travel. Presently, we have no plane traveling to Carriacou. And the ferry services only travel on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's a major issue. Don't talk about the economy of Carriacou and how that is impacting the economy. But we can talk about all the issues of Carriacou and Petit Martinique But I want to say to the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique that the time for change is now, and I want you, the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, to be part of the change that is coming to this great nation. So, sisters and brothers, whether you are from St. Mark's, St. Patrick's West, St. George's, St. David's, or St. John's, we have doors to knock, we have people to get registered to vote, and we have an election to win, so let's get about doing it. Have a good day.
So there you have it, our 7 candidates on the western flank, sorry. All right, I'll now invite them to all stand. If you can pull out your phones, take pictures if you want. Please, candidates. And let's give them a round of applause. These are the men and women who will bring the change we much need and move Grenada forward. You may now be seated. So now we move on to our question and answer segment, and I'll invite our Deputy PRO, Randall Robinson, to conduct this session. Randall?
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Members of the media. This is your opportunity to ask your questions. I know we have some on Zoom, so if you can open the Zoom lines, if there are any questions there, you could just raise your hand so I could see what's happening at the back. Nobody as yet. Media members present, if you have any questions, please address them. Yeah? Yes? MTV, did I see your hand? No?
You have the western flank. How soon are we going to see the launching of the eastern flank?
That's a question for the political leader. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm actually part of the eastern flank. So we have begun the launch for the eastern flank. I cannot give you a definitive timeline, other than to say soon. A matter of time. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So media, for everybody present, just identify your media outfit. Thank you very much. That will help. Yes? Right, new today, Mr. Terry Regis. You want to hold the mic and ask the question, just so that we get you on? All right, yes? Okay, Mr. Regis, you have a question? Oh, not as yet. All right, Zoom. Put them live, please, thanks. Go ahead on Zoom, please. Who? Jared Joseph, your chance.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yes, we are hearing you. Go ahead, Jared.
The 7 new candidates, my question is, the political leader, John Thomas, is there is that will contest in the next elections as the candidate?
So the answer to that is no.
Next question. Jared, you're still on? All right, there's nobody else. Yes, all right. Muriel? From MTV?
Meryl Henry, the lead newspaper. Yes. I would like to know how soon we will see the candidates in the different communities.
In the different?
Communities. Throughout the parish.
All right. So she wants to know how soon we'll see all of the candidates in the constituencies. I'll go back to the political leader, but I thought he answered that just now.
Thank you. We are already in the communities. I think I indicated, for example, that I was in Lackalum yesterday afternoon. I'm going to be in an area known as the Stones in Westall on Thursday. I'm going to be in Old Westall on Friday. I'm going to be in Close Rock and surrounding areas on Saturday. So I'm just giving you my schedule, and all of my colleagues are going to be from tomorrow in their respective constituencies, meeting, speaking with, dialoguing, and consulting with the voters. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Johnson Richardson, Grenada Informer newspaper. Election is right around the corner. There is no doubt about it. So the Prime Minister with the card in his hand can call it as early as, say, March, April. Assuming that it does so, how confident are you as political leader of the National Democratic Congress that your party would form the next government?
I'll answer this question this way. I think everybody has addressed me as the next Prime Minister of Grenada, Kariku and Piti Martin.
Mr. Leader, you're supposed to drop the mic. That's just a little fun break. Yes, folks? Any other members of the media? Thank you very much. Or, yes, one.
I have another question, and this one is for Mr. Lecretis. How confident you feel running in the same constituents as of the Prime Minister? How confident are you?
Thank you very much for your question. Extremely confident. I am a young man that is not deficient where confidence is concerned at all. You can take that to the bank and cash it. As I said in my introduction, life is about change, and life is about transition, and life is also about the individuals who went before us to pave the way so that the next generation can have a platform to stand on and mount up on new levels. The current MP for St. George's Northwest, my good friend, he has served and he has paid his dues, and we thank him for his contribution to politics and his contribution to the constituency of St. George's Northwest for almost 40 years of representation. But we think that it is time that the constituency be transformed into a community with sustainable development initiatives for all to benefit from.
If we drop that mic one more time, it wouldn't work. Yes, folks, we just have time for one more question, so yes. Name and
Okay, I'm Chris from Pennsylvania.
okay.
And I've heard Mr. Andrew talking about being an eco-warrior, but I haven't seen much of it so far in the whole of Grenada, and I'm just wondering what kind of commitment we have to not selling off our wetlands and mangroves for development which doesn't seem to really happen in the end. But there is a huge amount of destruction.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So that was a question to Mr. Handel. There's a microphone there.
The National Democratic Congress is steadfastly committed to the preservation and protection of our natural heritage throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, Piti Martinique, Isle Aroon, Isle Kai, all of them.
So we want to thank all of you, members of the media present, and all of you who have graced us with your presence. Give yourselves a round of applause now, man. And we want to thank you very much. Now I'm going to tell you what is happening from here, right? Those at the head table and the small entourage are going to have lunch for a few minutes, and then at 11:30, we are going to be leaving here. We will be walking up to the church, then back down to the bus terminus. From the bus terminus, we will leave and head to St. Mark. At St. Mark, we'll stop at Quince. What's the lady's name again? By Miss Ray. And we will walk through Victoria, stop off by the police station, that corner there, then over to the office, and from there, we are going to Grove, where we will stop by the fish market, and we will walk from the fish market down to the gas station. So we'll spend a little time, and Karine has a nice little program organized and so on. I'm just mentioning her, but we also have a program everywhere. Good? So it's happening by Quince, it's happening up here with Andal, and after we get through St. John, we go down to Mr. Lecretis, so we'll be by Hippos, and we will bless that office down there, and of course we'll be on the road, and we'll be meeting the people as they're passing by. And from there, we hope to touch down on the Carnage at 4 o'clock, 4:15, where we will spend some time meeting and greeting the people and hearing from the caretakers. All the caretakers will speak at their various constituencies, along with the political leader. And from town, we head up to Red Gate. I don't want to say Bacchanal, but you know, we're going up to Red Gate, and there is going to be a big reception for us, and that's where it ends. So there, a nice program is prepared for everybody who is going to be a part of the motorcade. What we want everybody to do is to be disciplined. And I am the chief disciplinarian today, so you will follow my lead. When I'm done here, you will see me in a gray jersey. So look out for the gray jersey and the cap, and when you hear pilling, pilling, we're moving on to the next constituency. You all working with me? I'm working with you. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you, and see you on the road.
In due time, the polls will open, and democracy will call on us to make a choice.
A choice between prosperity and false promises.
We all desperately crave change and progress, but progress favors the prepared.
What does it mean to be prepared?
It means to get registered.
Voting is your right, but you can only take part in the process if you are registered.
Registration is the first individual move you have to take if you want to contribute to the collective effort of national transformation.
Registration is how you can ensure your voice is heard.
Registration is a step in the right direction to bring benefits to our people.
To experience meaningful change.
Registration and voting is the only way to actualize our vision.
Our vision of more jobs and opportunities.
Our vision of better health and a robust agricultural sector.
Our vision of prosperity and nation building.
The ink we must use to rewrite our destiny.
To start a new chapter in our nation's history.
Is in the voters' booth.
And only the registered.
And only the registered.
And only the registered have access.
Change begins with registration.
Get registered today.
To get registered, visit your parliamentary electoral office in your constituency. For assistance with registration, call 435-1817 or visit our website at www.
In due time, the polls will open, and democracy will call on us to make a choice.
A choice between prosperity and false promises.
We all desperately crave change and progress, but progress favors the prepared.
What does it mean to be prepared?
It means to get registered.
Voting is your right, but you can only take part in the process if you are registered.
Registration is the first individual move you have to take if you want to contribute to the collective effort of national transformation.
Registration is how you can ensure your voice is heard.
Registration is a step in the right direction to bring benefits to all people.
To experience meaningful change.
Registration and voting is the only way to actualize our vision.
Our vision of more jobs and opportunities.
Our vision of better health and a robust agricultural sector.
Our vision of prosperity and nation building.
The ink we must use to rewrite our destiny.
To start a new chapter in our nation's history.
Is in the voters' booth.
And only the registered.
And only the registered.
And only the registered have access.
Change begins with registration.
Get registered today.
To get registered, visit your parliamentary electoral office in your constituency.